4 points that Jamoke and I jumped on saying yes. Right? You jumped on that? Okay, so one of them was about this thing about reacting to or responding to charter applications and internal charter applications. So maybe the other way of thinking about that, because that's around the diverse provider issue, is whether or not we believe as a board that establishing a business relationship with another entity other than Oakland Unified School District, school, or a service provider is a strategy that we think is worthwhile to have in order to get high-quality schools. And the scope and scale of that, we don't know, right? That depends on concrete conditions, but that we're on record as a matter of theory of action and eventually board policy, that we are open to that kind of a business relationship.
For example, you remember last week, or last board meeting, Director Spearman raised a question about Oakland Schools Foundation. She's been doing that regularly. It seems to me that if we had some sort of direction to the superintendent, that diverse providers would be considered under the following conditions: that they adopt strong, solid fiscal practices, that they engage in with the unions. I'm just throwing random things out. Right. That they adopt the strategic plan, that they provide an annual report or something like that. Why? That would provide us a rationale for approving their contract right. as it is. So they can't keep coming back to us, well, they're taking union work.
So I'm flashing to a presentation that I heard a couple of years ago from Baltimore Public Schools about how they have set up quality standards for all of the after-school providers who come into their district. And they have to have, probably similar to what you just described. Mm-hmm. So that would be consistent. I guess one of the things that comes up for me in this conversation is the point that I make a lot when we're discussing charter applications, which is what do we want a charter school to do? Like sometimes you'll hear me say, why isn't this school going to be a district school? Urban Montessori, why weren't we able to do that? The 100 Black Men application, why weren't we? Right, well, I'm coming back to your place, right? So why weren't we able to do that? And then is there something that a charter school offers us? Like we just heard the proposed decision from staff on the Civic Corps high school charter. That to me is so different from anything that we would offer that to me makes sense as a charter, right? But that's my theory around charters. That doesn't mean it's your theory of action around a charter school. But to come back to the idea that an entity that, now I'm sorry I'm rambling a little bit, but the whole idea also that we're right now going through with 15 schools in our district and doing this quality school review, right? I think some of us on Teaching and Learning had the opportunity for a briefing on that rubric, but it might be valuable for the rest of the board to see what that rubric looks like, because I don't know that you all have, but I think some of that gets into this diverse provider. Like we're now going to be holding our neighborhood schools to the same standard that we're holding that we use to evaluate some of the charter schools, and then do we also want to hold other entities that come in to that same standard? What if it's a health clinic? Do you want to hold the entity that's providing the medical services to that? Where does this end? Where does it start? Where does it end? I think that's part of what we're thinking about here.